In this series of videos, I'm going to show you how to use Revit to create sweeps. We're going to do this a couple of different ways, and I'm going to continue to demonstrate on the Provo City Center Temple. I'm going to do a model in place to create the roof, and then I'm going to use families to create some of the trim around the base of the roof. If we go back into my project and we start looking at what I did in SketchUp, I can use that as a guide throughout the entirety of this project. So none of that work is meaningless. Now, before I get started, I do want to just point out that in this video, I'm just going to show exactly how I got everything set up and ready to go to create a sweep. In a later video, I'll show how to do the actual sweep, but in this one, you need to see all the preparation work that goes into it first. To begin with, I created myself a datum because I want to create these walls and have some kind of a foundation for my tower. So I created a new reference level, which you can do just by going to any one of your straight on elevation views. I went architecture, level, created a new level, and then when I started drawing these walls, I was able to extend them directly up to their new level. I also would like a view that takes me up that high in the temple as a floor plan view. And you can see that after creating tower base, there's no floor plan over here that corresponds. So to create that, I'll go View, Plan Views, Floor Plan, and then just simply choose from the list. If this is active, it won't show you any of the other views that have already been created. But you can turn that on and off. In this case, it wouldn't make any difference. I want one for tower base. And now that it's been created, you can see that I'm looking down. I'm at a much higher level. I can decide what to do with SketchUp. I can hide this or not. And with my view range, I can tell it that I actually want to look a little bit lower than the actual level. So VR for view range, I'm going to type in -1 foot. And that allows me to be able to see just a little bit lower than the level so I can see those walls. And now I think we're ready to get started. Oh, by the way, in order to see these dashed reference lines in the center of my project, I went to my first floor plan view, and from there I went architecture, reference plane, and I created a reference plane right through the center in either direction, so I always know where the center of the building is, and that really helped me for putting these walls in symmetrically. Now, before I start modeling up here, I want, once again, a surface to model on. Even though these walls are here and that's great, I need some kind of a platform. And I would go back to this tower base and just use the floor command. Any kind of a generic floor is going to work out great. So floor, I've got a generic 12. I can always thicken that up if I feel like I need to. In this case, I think I will. I think I'd like that to be probably 2 feet thick. I can change it later on. Just rename this to be a 24. And I'll place it. Might even just use pick lines and lock them so that if I do change those walls, the floor will just expand and contract with their adjustments. Okay, I'm going to say don't attach. There's no attaching needed here. Look at it in 3D, and I just want that floor to drop down a little bit so it feels more like a parapet. So let's drop it down 1 foot. I might need to hide this to see what's happening. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's do one other thing before we start drawing the tower walls. I think it would be good if I go back to the front view, find out how tall do I need to make these walls. So let's reveal hidden so that I can see my SketchUp model. And then I'm just going to do a little dimension here. So I'm approximately 16 foot 7 inches to the top. Perfect. We'll go back to tower base. And here's how I can use the polygon tool to create these walls. 12-inch walls. And I'm going to go to the circumscribed polygon, set the number of sides to 8. I'll go right here to the center. The circumscribed means my cursor is right in the center of one of the lines around the polygon. And that's what I want. So I'm going to pull this out until it hits that edge. And I should have given it a length ahead of time, but I remember that number, 16 foot 7. So I'm just going to select all of these. That's not going to work. I'll hover over one, hit tab, there. And then we'll go 16'7". Perfect. And now we're ready to use these walls to create this sweep. And even though I'm going to do this in my next video, I'm going to actually create the sweep in my next video, I needed to show all this just to make it clear that there's always a little bit of prep work that has to be done in order to create a sweep properly. So in this case, if I hide this, having the walls in this configuration allows me to use just the top of the walls as a pathway for a sweep. And a sweep is really nothing more than a shape and a path put together. Without these in place, it would have been incredibly difficult. So in your own project, do whatever you need to do to be ready. And then in the next video, I'll show you how to create those sweeps.